Okay, we are live. Finally, we had a few technical difficulties this morning, some internet issues, but it is early morning Vietnam. I have my coffee. Some people are here and it's a late night for you. Maybe grab a beer, grab your favorite beverage of choice, and we're here to talk about cameras, camera rumors, camera news. They're all coming in really hot this time of year. We had the announcement of the new ZV-1F. So, yeah, that happened. Knew there was a new ZV camera coming. Thought it was going to be a ZV-1 Mark II, possibly, or more likely, I thought it was going to be another camera in the line that was maybe higher up. I didn't anticipate that there was actually a lower bar that they would go to or could go to, but apparently Sony found it. So, yeah, I'm not very happy about that. And that's okay. We can go back over that, everybody here together. The way this show is usually going, but the way we kind of do this thing usually is I might go over a topic and we'll talk a little bit and let the chat possibly build up. And then when the chat starts building up, we can start having some direct conversations. If you're here, jump in the chat, drop all your questions, have a good conversation here about the new cameras that are coming out. We're going to go over the Sony Alpha, we're going to go over the Sony A7R5 rumors that are coming. We're going to go over the CR3 coming from Canon Rumors about the new Canon R6 Mark II, which is pretty closer than we think, information and figure it out. So, let me check the chat just to see if anybody jumped in here and already chatting. Usually not. Usually the chat doesn't start coming until later. Now, if you are watching here live, be sure to hit that thumbs up, or even if you're watching on the after show, hit that thumbs up, and this will get this out to more people, and then that way we can have a more robust conversation, and yeah, more people can see it. I really appreciate it. Thank you. All right, let's go ahead and go over to, let me share my screen. A lot of times I will refresh this in the mornings. I looked at it last night. I refreshed it in the morning. Sometimes we get some news, some surprises. Right here, oh my gosh, my internet is having issues. Yeah, it just threw me off. Ooh. How is my feed doing? I want to switch over my feed, but this is not good. Sorry. We're off to a good start. Man, this is not the internet I want to be on right now. All right. I hope that didn't throw me offline. Sorry about the delay here. Okay, so the first story here we can go over. This was coming, just scrolling down the news here. Sony also announced an XLR H1 handle unit for that, which is and the enormous $1,250 card. This, to me, I didn't know this was new. Okay, so I don't know why Sony Alpha Rumors. Okay, here we go. I was like, that's not the latest. All right, so having some internet difficulties here. If I cut out, I'm so sorry. I hope my internet is working. I hope I'm still live. If you're here, if you're watching, please comment. Let me know if everything's coming through clear to you, because this is bad. Okay, so here is we just talked about this a little bit. The Sony ZV-1F. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into this. See if we can find the actual specs here. Official vlogging camera. Now this is Sony Alpha Rumors. Let me go ahead and go to B&H, and that way I can maybe get the more in-depth specs. My internet is messing up here. I restarted my modem before I got on. I thought everything was good, but now things are messing up again. So yeah, we're kind of learning on the fly here. Okay, learn more about the Sony ZV-1F for terrible. Okay, sorry. Is anybody excited about the ZV-1F? Maybe I'm just not getting it as far as what's going on. I just didn't really realize that. To me, actually, Gerald Undone did a whole big thing on it. I didn't get to watch all of it, but he was comparing it to the smartphones. I watched the conclusion, and it's worth checking out the video. He's good as always. But one thing that he was talking about is comparing it to smartphones, and there was really very little that he was recommending it for over just a normal smartphone. So to me, this is just kind of we have extra parts. We should make this type thing. I don't know. This is so it's a 20 millimeter fixed wide angle lens. That's great. Doesn't have any IBIS except for the active steady shot, which is okay. It crops into 24. Better than the ZV-1 crazy crop that they had, but a fixed lens kind of sucks. The microphone seemed just okay. It's all just 8-bit. There's no, you're using S. Why do they have S-Log? I don't even know. There's no RAW. I don't know. This thing just to me is a big disappointment, especially considering all the different things I wanted out of ZV-1 Mark II. I guess the non-disappointment is that I don't have to spend any extra money, that it wasn't exciting to me. So that's good. I don't need to spend any more money on cameras right now. Okay. I actually have some peeps jumping in here, talking. Good morning from Dubai. Paris in the Philippines. Still trying to figure out the Sony ZV-1F. Seems such a backward step. They've released a camera that's nearly as good as an iPhone. You're hanging a lot today, buddy. Hanging a lot? Do you mean that is my internet messing up? Is that what you're trying to say? So yeah, if my internet is messing up, let me know. Yeah, if I can see that happening because we have two different internet situations here, and then there's one for this level, and then there's one for downstairs, and the one up here I unhooked it and hooked it back in, thought it was working, but it's not. So let me know, Para. Is there a big mess up here, or it's kind of bothering me? Let's see here. Yeah, they've released a camera that's nearly as good as the iPhone 14 Pro. It's weird because there's just so much more value in the iPhone 14 Pro to me, because obviously it's a phone as well and you do all your other stuff. Like, I don't see many people looking at that camera. I mean, maybe if you have like a cheaper iPhone or whatever, and like not a 13 or 14 or any of the new stuff, and you're just saying, oh, I'm not going to get a new phone anytime soon, but I want to get a better camera. It looks like a toy to me. Like, this reminds me of something. This is what I feel like the Sony ZV-1F is going after. I feel like it's going after kids who want to be vloggers. I really think that's it, actually. Wow. I think I just figured it out. So I think Sony is going after the kids that want to be vloggers with the Sony ZV-1F. I think essentially there's a lot of kids that wish that they were vloggers on YouTube or whatever, TikTok, and they see all these people doing it, and they think that they're going to need a camera, and so they'll talk to their mom saying, Mom, it's only $500. And they think that's going to make them better. I think that it's probably like going after the 10 to 15 price range, market range, maybe 18, before they get that happen. So let me know if you're still here in the chat, if you can hear me. I really appreciate it. Oh man, Long Rider sent me a $5 super chat and a peace sign. Peace, brother. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. He's a big supporter and has been for a long time, even though when I talk about Canon, he gets upset. But I do want to talk to you about Canon Long Rider, so hopefully you can stick around because there's some big news with that R6, and I'm thinking that might be a camera for you, maybe, possibly, could be a camera. The R6 Mark II is supposed to be compared with the Sony A7R4, A7 IV. Yeah, no. So don't get the thumbnail twisted. Amrit, am I saying that right? No, the thumbnail is essentially clickbait. No, that's not the point. The thumbnail is just the fact that Canon and Sony are both announcing a lot of cameras. There's a lot more coming out. That's why I put Canon versus Sony, because we're getting all these different rumors about these different things. In no way are they directly competing against each other. I just meant like the rumors and are both coming out at the same time. Like, what is being more exciting right now? Is it the Canon rumors that are coming out, or is it this new Sony A7R5 rumors? The two cameras are not going to be in a comparable market. So yeah, there's a little bit of maybe being misconstrued, but I tried to just kind of go over the idea that these camera wars are heating up, meaning the two camera companies that are in the lead right now are really battling it out for everything. If you're here, if you're still able to watch, I cut out there for a minute. I hope I'm back, but let me know. If you're here in the chat, can you let me know before I go on to another subject if this thing is actually working? If you're here and you're watching, hit that like button. This will get this out to more people, because that way we can have a bigger, better conversation, hopefully. But my internet stream went out for a while and I had to start back. So let me know. There were some technical difficulties for sure. So I don't really want to start jumping into the topic unless I know that I'm actually back online. Oh, anybody here able to watch? Maybe I should check my own self here. But then I'm afraid I'm going to mess up my internet. This is not the best of the best here. My internet has usually been fairly decent. Let's see if I'm working. So there's not much of a lag here. But what I do wonder is, we did have some people watching, and I wonder if it's possible that people were watching, and then when I dropped out, they thought the chat that I bailed on everybody. Anyways, I hope y'all are able to come back. Hope y'all are okay with me saying y'all. Okay. So let's go here. So I'm going to go over to the next story. Hopefully people will start following back into the chat. I'm sorry about the dropout here. Let me go back to this, and maybe I can pick up. I don't know where I dropped off. Let me just kind of go back into the Sony A7R5 and start talking from there. So I had a little bit of a brief internet mess up, so let me go back over the Sony A7R5. And we'll kind of go back into some of the rumors that we had here. Last time it was funny because I was doing this whole live stream. I was going to clip everything out, and I was looking down at the wrong camera the whole time. So anyways, I hope that problem doesn't happen again. Screenshot. Okay. Going back over here, Sony Alpha Rumors. So, same sensor. It's not a new sensor now. We heard it was a new sensor, then it wasn't a new sensor. Yay. But it's whatever. Totally new autofocusing system with AI deep learning. To me, this is marketing jargon. This sounds like they don't have much new to offer in my mind. I hope I'm wrong and there's really something new, but Sony's autofocus has been great for a long time. So, yeah, it's great if they add more subjects to detect, and that's what it sounds like. They're going to be able to track all kinds of different stuff, or, it's going to be able to recognize supposedly what it trains and all this different stuff, maybe. But that's nothing new in the camera industry. Maybe they're going to do it better than everybody else, but to act like this is like something brand new here, we'll see. I hope I'm wrong. 4K 24 cropped. Yes, makes sense, but I think it's 4K 30, I would assume. The 4K 60 full readout, that's a little bit confusing because are they saying that it's going to be the full readout of the sensor? I mean, you can get the, I don't know where I cut off on the stream, so that's why when I go back over this. Is this meaning that it's going to downsample from that 9K or whatever it's going to be? Or does that mean it's going to be pixel binning? I think pixel binning is the likely thing. It's still going to get a full, whatever, the full size readout. As Cinetone makes sense too. So this is the other interesting part that I was getting to, and then we had a mess up here with the internet. Hopefully it's back on. Be filling out the chat if you're here. If you're here and you're watching, listening, I appreciate you all watching and listening. Hit that like button, and we'll get this out to more people and get a more robust conversation going here in a minute. Okay, 8 stops of IBIS. Unclear yet if it's native or with gyro data. So I don't know, what is the current stop of IBIS with the gyro data? Because I would assume that it's, I don't know if it's 8 stops, but I mean, it's nuts. When you have Catalyst Browse on, if you're doing that like later on with Catalyst Browse, I wouldn't be surprised if it's at 8 stops already. So to me, like, this sounds awesome. And it sounds like what Canon has done a little bit. That would be great if that's in, actually native to the camera. I do hope that they don't have the wobbling situation as bad as what Canon had with the R5. I feel like that's one of the biggest issues with the R5 is that weird wobble in the back. They did some stuff that they said they were going to fix it, but didn't seem to fix it from what I've seen. So the body looks similar between, looks like a mix between the A7S3 and the A7 IV. So I don't exactly know what that means because they look almost identical. Besides, how do you go between those? They're so similar. I mean, I get they have a slightly different dial on the top, but like, how do you go between those? Does the dial like look halfway? Anyways, that'll make sense to me. Maybe they have the same EVF. Maybe that's part of it, but that still doesn't change the body. So, about the new autofocus system. The new AF system has a new AI processing unit for object recognition and human pose estimation. It is also a hint for what is coming in the next generation of sports cameras because it recognizes cars, trains, planes, insects, on top of humans, animals, and birds. This is a completely new way. Yeah, this sounds marketing. And I'm not saying that Andre is doing anything nefarious here, but he is a fanboy for sure, and I think he would agree with that. And he's not. I don't mean that in a derogatory term. He just loves Sony. Obviously, he has Sony Rumors website. So, and I think his website, overall, he's doing some great work. He has a YouTube channel. Go check him out over there. But he's a fanboy here. So he hears this. This is the spin that Sony's going to put on it, and maybe it is something new and great and whatever. I just think this sounds like BS marketing. Or maybe it's true marketing, but it sounds like, to me, this sounds like a fairly minor update on different stuff. Pose estimation. I don't even, why, if you're going to be locking onto their eye pretty much perfectly, why do you need to estimate their pose? You're locking onto their eye. So this sounds weird. I don't mind the idea of Sony going over to more computational photography type stuff, and that kind of sounds partially what they're doing here. It's not really computational photography from this, it's the AI on the autofocusing stuff. I think that Sony and all camera manufacturers need to add more, hardware, really, more software features into this thing and up the powerhouse. They had people from, I think it was Qualcomm, that was talking about the new Snapdragon chip that was in the new cameras or in the new smartphones. He was basically saying it's 10 times the processing power that's in the latest cameras, and I have no doubt there's so much money that is getting spent on these new smartphones that I don't understand how Sony and all the different companies, they're not getting access to those chips. Sony has a great working relationship with Apple. If I was Sony right now, if I really wanted, I think that they make so much off their sensors that I'm not sure if they 100% care. But if I was Sony, I would be trying to figure out how to run one of those operating systems. How do I get access to Apple's A15 Bionic chip and put that in here, or whatever they're going to call? What's their new one? A16 Bionic chip. How do I get one of maybe those M1 chips? I think that maybe that's a little bit too big and too much heat to put into a camera, but to me, those chips are light years ahead of what's in Sony cameras, and maybe you disagree, but I think they're far ahead of the chipsets that are in these things, and I would be interested to see how much they could push out of a camera if you had a proper chip in it. And no, especially considering how big cameras are, like you would be able to dissipate the heat much better. I don't know. I just think that Sony's going to have to do more with that type of stuff in cameras in general. Canon, they're all going to have to do more on the computational side to start, I don't know, competing on a higher end. Of course, you got the optical situation going on with DSLRs or mirrorless cameras. You have the lens, the optical. You have the bigger sensors. That's all great. It's hard to fight physics, but smartphones are starting to do a damn good job with AI, and I think that's something worth looking into a lot more. So yeah. So let me go to the chat. Maybe people started filling it back up because I dipped out for a minute. Okay, so the chat. I hope I didn't lose the people that were willing to chat here when we had a dropout, because it looks like I might have. If you're here, if you're watching, I appreciate you. Jump into the chat. We'll talk, have a conversation. If you're not, if you're just listening, that's cool too. Hit that like button. We'll get this out to more people. I've had some technical difficulties starting this thing off. We dropped out for a minute, and so I'm back. Hopefully everything is working accordingly now. But if you're here, chat, let me know what you're thinking about this new Sony A7R5 rumors. I think this sounds kind of lame, to be honest. No, I just think it sounds like it's going to be what we kind of hoped it wasn't. A small iteration update, some quality of life stuff, and this new AI thing. I mean, I guess I'll believe it when I see it. I just think that they already have amazing autofocus. They're just adding tracking for trains, planes, and everything that Nikon Z9's doing. And it's not anything really AI about it. I think it's just marketing speak. That's what my thoughts are. But drop in the comment section below or the chat here and let me know. Maybe you disagree. If you're here, you're watching, chat. If not, if you want to listen, that's great too. I appreciate you. Hit that like button. Get this out to more people. I know we have more people watching than has hit the like button, so it would greatly appreciate hitting that like button. We get more people in here. We have a more robust, better, informative, fun conversation, hopefully. Let me go over here. We'll share back the screen. Hopefully get the chat start filling up here. I don't know if we want to cover anything about the Sony A7R5. I hope Longrider's still here. He gave me a super chat early. I appreciate it. But I want to show him this camera right here. So let's go over and think. Okay, so Canon Rumors. So a Canon Rumors CR3 is supposed to be like the most reliable of the reliable. It absolutely was under the old management. Under the new management, I still have a little bit of an iffiness about even CR3s. But overall, Canon Rumors is a fairly reliable website. And they have a CR3 about the Canon EOS R7 Mark II. The fact that they're even talking about a EOS R7 Mark II is pretty impressive, because usually that means that something's coming out fairly soon if you're getting like a CR3 about it. So maybe, but I wasn't anticipating this camera to come out anytime soon, but now I'm starting to anticipate it. Let me go ahead and share my screen here and go over this camera, because I think a lot of people are going to be very happy about this camera. So this is the specs. New information in bold. We have a 24 megapixel full frame CMOS sensor. So they're saying a CMOS sensor. Is this going to be? I think there was questions on whether or not this would be the stack sensor that is in the R3. If this is the stack sensor that is in the R3, this is an amazing camera right here. I think it will be an amazing camera if that's the sensor. Dual pixel raw burst. Yeah, okay. Don't know what that means. Dual pixel autofocus, of course. In-body stabilization. Everybody knows that's going to happen. Digital teleconverter. Huh. Digital teleconverter. I've never heard of this. That's interesting. I don't. Maybe if you're in the chat, let me know. Maybe I'm just not knowing it by that term. But what would that be? Yeah, 12 frames per second mechanical. The same thing. Hybrid autofocus. So dual pixel and contrast. I guess that's what they're saying. Hybrid auto. I don't know. No, that doesn't make sense. They're not saying autofocus. This is all kind of weird. Never heard of some of these terms the way that they're laying them out. 4K 30, no crop. Good. Didn't necessarily expect it. 4K 60 cropped, the same as the R6 with the 1.1 crop. Nothing big here. Cloud raw processing, which is very interesting. So are they going to be able to shoot things directly to the cloud? If that's the case, that's a good deal here. RF/RF lens. Yeah, okay. Nothing new there. SD cards, dual card slots. Not much change in form factor over the original R6. So really, this isn't as impressive as I was thinking, unless this is that stacked sensor. Because if that's a stacked sensor, that means it's going to be way faster readout. I'm guessing they're going to get rid of the record limits on this camera. That's what I'm thinking. We'll see, is this downsampled from what would be 6K on a 24 megapixel sensor? If that's the case, that's pretty big. And I wouldn't be surprised. That would make sense to have a downsampled 6K downsampled 6K to 4K, even in 60 frames per second. They can easily make that happen. I guess the big thing is, if this is $2,500, what does that do to the R3? When does this come out in relation to the R3? So is the R1 going to come out first, or is this going to come out before the R1? Because if this comes out before the R1, then this really would compete with the R3 in my mind. So yeah. What's this digital teleconverter? Huh. Maybe this is something that everybody would know about other than me. Because usually, it sounds, I've never heard of a digital one. Let's see, go back to the chat here. Okay. Perry's in the Philippines, just busy working and listening. Well, I appreciate you for being here listening. That's always appreciated for sure. Yeah, so what are your thoughts on this new Canon R6 rumors? I think if it is if it's the R3 sensor, then that's pretty impressive. If Long Rider is still here, he threw in a super chat. Long Rider, if you're still here, let me know, what are your thoughts on this R6? If it is the R3 sensor in this R6 body, is that going to be enticing for you? Because Long Rider, you were very enticed by the R3, so I wonder about your commitments, because they seemed very rocky with Sony. So what are your thoughts now that you're hearing more about the R5 from Sony, and what are your thoughts going to be on this new camera? I'm really anticipating your thoughts. So my allegiances go back and forth. Right now I'm shooting Sony. I have a Canon EOS R in the cupboard that I haven't opened up in a while. I'm very tempted by the R5C. I know it's weird. Maybe I don't need it. I probably don't. No one needs any of this. But but I like the more video centric, because I was thinking about training the A7S3 in for the FX3. Um, but now I'm wondering, I'm like, well, I have some of my Canon lenses, so why don't I just go R5C and get that over with? The battery life is what's killing me. Okay, I'm hoping that we can get some of the chat filling up with some of the conversations, and we'll go back over them. If not, I don't know what we'll do. Just kidding. Let me go back over here to the sharing the screen, and we will start going back over some of the other stories and see if anything else pops out. So, Fuji Rumors, I have not looked at Fuji Rumors today. We'll see what happens. Just new firmware. I'm not seeing anything big here. I don't necessarily expect anything big with Fuji Rumors because we've had a lot of Fuji cameras that were released. I think that's pretty much, they've shot everything they're going to shoot this year. I think we have the XT5 to look forward to next year, and we'll see about the other cameras, I'm sure, that as well. But I will say that Gerald Undone, jeez, Jared Poland, okay, I mixed those two up. Gerald Undone did a fairly comprehensive and interesting look between the Fujifilm XH2S and the XH2. To me, the findings were fairly interesting, because I think that the XH2 held its own against the XH2S a lot better than I would think. And if I was a lot of people, I would maybe be a little disappointed if I picked up the XH2S and paid $500 extra and then had the other one come out much cheaper. Or not or 500 cheaper with 40 megapixels. There's a few benefits that I see to the XH2S, but from his testing, the dynamic range, I expected it to be a bigger differentiator. That wasn't there. There was some extra speed, but I think they both seem to handle fairly well. The autofocusing is supposed to be better, but he didn't seem like he could tell the difference between the autofocus. So I don't know. It's worth checking out the video if you're interested in either of those two cameras. But I like Fuji overall, and if you're into Fuji, then maybe go check that out. Let's go over to Nikon Rumors. Check it out over here. See what else we got. So Nikon Rumors, eyepiece options, great. Nothing great over here yet. They're just talking about the new tools, new lenses. Yeah. New cards. Okay, well, we can rehash something here. The CF Express Type B cards. I don't understand why Sony has went with Type A. That is really a reason why I'm even considering thinking about moving away from Sony is that situation. I think the Type A cards, if they're really going to keep down that path, is going to hinder them significantly, and I don't see them jumping away from that anytime soon. I feel it's weird because it feels like every time I jump over to Sony, it's like right after they stop innovating. It's like, oh, I'm in Sony and they've been doing all kinds of cool stuff. Oh man, I'm gonna FOMO, missing out on Sony, and I jump over there and then it's like no firmware, no nothing. And you're just like, what? Where's my cameras been? I thought you were innovating. I thought you were back. Everybody said you're back. Anyways, sorry. Personal note. We go back to the chat. Okay. All right. We have some people watching and listening, and I appreciate you. I think I covered most of what I was going to cover as far as that goes, as far as the news stories go. I was hoping to get maybe a conversation going, but I understand people are busy. But yeah, they've had some technical difficulties here, so I apologize for that. If we don't have people that are wanting to engage, understand. I appreciate people just listening, but usually, in order for this to go much longer, I need people to be able to talk, and that's okay if we're not able to do that here. But if you're watching this on the replay, I appreciate you watching it on the replay. Appreciate everybody who's been here. But yeah, my biggest takeaways in conclusion is I feel like the Canon R6. It's very interesting that we're getting rumors of CR3 noteworthiness. So if that's happening now, then I wonder, is it possible we're going to hear something from this camera sooner rather than later? When it comes to the Sony A7R5, this really does sound like it's just going to be that minor update that we were kind of hoping that it wouldn't be. They have maybe some new autofocus. I'm hoping to be pleasantly shocked and surprised, but it sounds like to me that this is marketing jargon that's going to be happening. Some spin doctors are going to be in on this thing. So I hope I'm wrong, but if you disagree, let me know in the comments below or in the chat if you're still wanting to chat or if you're able to chat. Then on the Sony ZV-1F, I think that sucks. I was excited about the camera because I thought it was going to be a Mark II. I knew it was going to be a point and shoot for a long time, and we got that out there. I think before Sony Alpha Rumors was even talking about it, we were putting out there that it was going to be a point and shoot camera. I just didn't anticipate it wasn't going to have a zoom. I didn't anticipate they were going to be able to go under the Sony ZV-1 Mark II because kind of like what Gerald Undone pointed out, I think basically at this point, I don't see a benefit of having that over a phone. What I think they're going after here, and I kind of talked about it, but I think where I found out the market, it's going to be for like 10-year-olds to 15-year-olds who want to be vloggers, who see that. It's going to be marketed as, you want to be the next vlogger? Do you want to be Logan Paul and Casey Neistat? And for like 10 or 15-year-olds. And they're going to see that, be like, yes, that's what I want. Mom, can you get it for me? I think that's really what they're hitting at, because maybe those people don't have the top of the top iPhones and Pixel phones or whatever. Because yeah, I think if you have that other phone, then why would you have that 500? I don't see benefit at all. Pretty much, yes. Let me go back to the chat just to make sure we're not chatting. Okay, Paris. I watched a vlogger the other day. Okay, so Paris in the Philippines. I watched a vlogger the other day that's part of B&H Creators Program. He got the Sony A1 for $3,400. I've sent in my application. Oh, yeah, okay, I meant to go over that. Thank you. I sent in my application, too. Yeah, I actually heard 3,100, which it was 31 something, I thought. But, yeah, 3,400, even if it's 3,400, that's nuts. I sent in my application as well. I do wonder why they're doing this. Some people speculated that it was going to be the reasoning would be possibly some firmware update that they're going to be bringing to it. A reason that I kind of thought is maybe they have something new around the corner and they're kind of moving some hardware, which would be, and they don't want to maybe piss off the general consumer base. That's what it kind of seems like to me. But yeah, I'm wondering if that's the case because Sony Alpha Rumors actually did tease that they're hearing early next year about a Sony A1 Mark II. So that would be surprising in a way, but the A9 and the A9 Mark II were very closely, I guess, released. So I wouldn't necessarily be surprised, but if I snag that for $3,400, if I send my application, I'm pretty sure we won't hear anything back until well after October 18th when they come back from their holiday break or whatever the break is about. I mean, it's a holiday some way. It's religiously affiliated, I'm sure. B&H is really good about letting people off a lot. They actually closed down their shop, which is a big shop, for their holidays and their beliefs, which I think it's a good deal. I think it's really smart. I bet I'd be fairly happy, especially if they get some pretty good pay out of it. If I was happy working for B&H, because I get a lot of time off, a lot of vacations. It sounds great. But yeah, so yeah, if I get that Sony A1, to be honest, I'm selling that thing because I don't need an A1, but but I would love to take that money and put it towards something else. So like a FX3 Mark or FX3, or if I go Canon, the R5C. If I go to back to the dark side, I've never completely left anything, so I'm just playing the field over here. If you're here, you're watching, hit that like button, get this out to more people. We can have a conversation. I'm open to have a conversation for the next 10 to 15 minutes or so, but I know some people are just able to listen. If you're just able to listen, I've went over most of the main topics about the news here. We had some technical difficulties in the beginning, and that's just a reality of life, I guess, which was disappointing. But I would like to get some inputs about the. I'll sit here for a few more seconds here. I'd like to get some inputs about the Sony A7R5. If anybody is listening and want to chat about it, this A7R5, are you thinking like I'm thinking this is going to be a disappointing camera overall, or it's minor updates and the AI autofocus is kind of a bunch of bogusness, BS. And then I would like to get some people's inputs about the R6 Mark II. Do you think it's interesting? Do you think it's coming sooner rather than later with them already having CR3s? I love how I start to log this thing off. This literally happens almost every week. I start to log off, and then I see like the chat or the people just start filling up the chat, and which is fine. I don't mind having a longer conversation. I just think it's funny that happens. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess no one wants to watch this week, and then everybody joins. That's nice. I should say that at the beginning of everything. But yeah, I'd like to get some inputs about the R6 Mark II. If anybody's here and wanting to chat about it, let me know what you're thinking on that. I think if it has the the R3 stack sensor, that is a dangerous combination. I think that's an amazing chess move for Canon to put in here. Let me know. But that's a good thing. I don't know. I'm just disappointed with the recent announcement of whatever the hell that was, ZV-1F was, and with what we're hearing about the R5, I was very excited from Sony, but then now I'm starting to really start to lose faith that it's going to be more than just a small iteration, which is something that I kind of thought it was from the beginning, or I actually said, I think my first prediction video was saying that they're going to keep the same sensor and just, probably very minorly iterate. But we started hearing, 80 megapixel sensor, 100 megapixel sensor. I was like, okay, maybe they're doing something special. I didn't think they needed to raise the megapixel count, to be honest. But I was excited they were going to be releasing a new sensor, possibly. But I don't know. I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer or anything, but I think that this is going to be a very minor update. Definitely no stack sensor. Long Rider's not in. He is out. He said no more wasting his time, Sony. Long Rider is out, and I'm thinking he's going to Nikon. Or if the R6 Mark II has that stack sensor, I bet he's going Canon. Or he's just going to stay where he's at. I don't know. Okay. It looks like people are listening. If you are listening, that's great. Maybe catch the replay. I went over most of the different information there. I went over all the different subjects. And yeah, I appreciate everybody for being here. Sorry for all the technical difficulties and being all over the board here. But I am going to go ahead and call it a day. Hopefully everybody can watch the replay and enjoy it. Until next time, peace.